Confirmed.
That was the NASA control room moments after its InSight craft touched down on Mars. The journey, which began in May, came down to 7 nail-biting minutes as the probe had to slow down from 12,000 miles per hour to just 5 and land safely on the red planet. The more than $800 million project will be the first to study the interior of Mars, and the spacecraft has already started sending pictures back to Earth. Now, after this major NASA milestone, scientists say it's only a matter of time before mankind takes its first steps on the red, dusty planet. Well, joining me now from Pasadena in California is Rob Grover. He's the system lead for InSight's entry, descent, and landing at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Good to have you on the program, Rob. Congratulations. Tell me how difficult and fantastic it was to do this.
Well, thanks for having me. Boy, we're really excited that we had a successful landing on Monday. It is a challenge. Everything has to go perfectly to land successfully on Mars. And of course, the spacecraft itself has to do it all on its own. It's completely autonomous. And so we have to make sure, and we work for years to make sure that it will work on the day that we land. You can see our landing system there. We have an entry capsule, and we go to a parachute. And then we do a powered descent under rocket power, and we land and touch down at about 2.4 meters per second, or about 5 miles an hour. And it appears that everything worked just as we had planned. We're going to look at all the data today and start looking at it and see just exactly how the landing went. Any
moments at which you thought this might not happen?
Well, there was as you may know, we were originally scheduled to fly to Mars in 2016, and the science instrument, our seismometer, was not quite ready to launch. And so there was a little bit of concern there that we might not get to go to Mars. But of course, NASA gave us the go-ahead, and we waited for the next launch window in 2018. And so we did eventually launch and had a successful landing, and now the scientists are beginning the process of getting science underway on the surface.
Right. And if you'll allow me to sort of pop out of your exact domain of influence and expertise, and to talk more generally about sort of Mars travel and space travel and what NASA does. I remember a few years ago I was having an interview with Charles Bolden, the NASA administrator, and he said something about, well, we're planning many more missions to Mars. We want to send probes and so on. And I did the naive, stupid, illiterate thing that a lot of us tend to do. I went, well, you know, we went to the moon 50 years ago. Why aren't we sending men to Mars? And he then had to sort of explain that even sending a probe is no small thing, right? I mean, do people not quite appreciate just how difficult this is and just how valuable this is to send a probe such as InSight or Curiosity?
Well, the probes that we send are returning a lot of information about Mars, and just in the last 10 or 15 years, with the Spirit and Opportunity rovers that have been on Mars, and Curiosity, and now InSight, and along with Phoenix, we've increased our understanding of Mars significantly, which is important for future exploration. It's very challenging to send the robotic missions, and it just multiplies when you send humans to Mars. Mm-hmm. Of course, the moon landings were very exciting. And that's one of the reasons why I am in the space program, because as a child, I watched the moon landings, and it's much easier to get to the moon. It only takes about 3 days. But for Mars, it takes about 6 or 7 months to get to Mars. And so the challenges of keeping a crew alive and healthy on the way out to Mars, and then and conducting a surface mission on Mars with people is very challenging, because once you're there, a surface mission would probably last about 1.5 years. Mm-hmm. In order for Mars and Earth to line up again for the return trip. So a human mission to Mars could last as much as 2.5 years, and that is a long time to support people and make sure everything works perfectly.
Yeah, it's going to be good to see what sort of insights InSight gives us that Curiosity cannot, as it looks sort of within the surface of Mars. In general, Rob, are you excited about the future of space exploration? Is it a good time to be alive? People are very depressed about the politics and all the wars going on in the world. But when we look beyond our planet where we're killing each other, Is it an exciting time to be alive?
Oh, I think so. Yes. I mean, we've done a lot on Mars recently, and there are plans, of course, to do human exploration beyond low Earth orbit and beyond the International Space Station. And so I think it's a very exciting time. It's what inspires me in my work and my life. And you know, I think it brings out the best in us as human beings to explore and to push ourselves, and I think it's, you know, the future is positive in that way. And I think space exploration has the possibility to bring us together, of course, and as we do with the International Space Station. And the challenges of sending humans out beyond low Earth orbit are such that cooperation between different countries is important to make that possible. Yes. So I think it's the future is very promising in space.
Well, I have tremendous respect for you and all the other scientists. Congratulations once again. Looking forward to having you back on the program soon. Thanks so much, Rob Grover.